Hello and welcome to live reading session. This is an interesting site that I found while surfing. It's called innerquest.org. Here there are some very interesting and short articles about teachings of some masters. So I found this one from Ranjit Maharaj particularly fascinating. It is almost like the teachings of Nisargadatta Maharaj, and I don't know what is his relation to Nisargadatta Maharaj, but it looks like he's from the same place and same tradition. His name is Ranjit Maharaj. The article is titled "Everything is Nothing." So let's see what the teaching says. I'm going to give you a commentary whenever there is a need of commentary, and otherwise it is going to be an interesting read. Let there be peace and love among all beings of the universe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Ranjit Maharaj was born in Bombay on January 4th, 1913. At the age of 12, he met his master, Siddh Rameshwar Maharaj, a great unknown guru of the age. He did not begin to teach until 1983 at the age of 70, when increasing number of seekers kept showing up at his door. His teaching is in the continuity of his masters, which emphasizes simplicity and directness in language. The specificity of Maharaj's teaching is its radical stand and directness. All is illusion. The I is illusion. So whatever the I does is also illusion. Therefore, he does not give any method to improve the illusion. Knowledge is a mere remedy to cure the disease of ignorance, and once ignorance has vanished, knowledge no longer has any real existence. Within reality, there is neither knowledge nor ignorance. When I do not exist, when I am not, he only is, and that is reality. That is self without self. Maharaj often speaks of zero, which refers to consciousness, the sense that I am. Whatever arises within consciousness is no different from consciousness itself, and to make something of it is totally pointless. Making something from nothing is ignorance, and knowing that everything is nothing is wisdom. What need is there to prove that zero is always zero? Reality is the source of everything and is the natural state beyond consciousness, the stateless state. Only that is true, and as Maharaj always says, everything that comes and goes in is zero, is unreal. Reality remains ever present and is absolutely independent from the I, the body, the mind, the world and consciousness, which all come and go. During deep sleep there is nothing, not even the I am consciousness, yet reality remains. Through true knowledge and the rejection of all false identifications that one has taken upon oneself, the wheels of ignorance are removed and we realize our true nature. To find out your true nature is the easiest thing, since you are always that. Ranjit Maharaj passed away on November 15th, 2000 at 6:16 p.m. at his residence in Bombay. Maharaj's words during his last few days were, It is of no use now and has to go. So my comment here is that the first paragraph itself introduces the directness of Ranjit Maharaj's teaching. He is not really into any kinds of concepts, no philosophy, nothing. He simply delivers his message, which is almost like that of, it resembles very much the teachings of Nisargadatta Maharaj or Avadhuta Dattatreya and people from that lineage. And also, it sounds a lot like Zen to me. Zen as taught by Bodhidharma himself. And of course, there are shades of teachings of Gautam Buddha from Buddhism here, from Nagarjuna and other masters, great masters on path of knowledge. It almost sounds like nihilistic, but I'm pretty sure he is not saying that by when we say zero, it is not really zero. Although he says, what need is there to prove that zero is always zero? So he is pointing to the paradoxical nature of the teachings also. So let us go forward and read the section on reality. Here is a very good photo of Ranjit Maharaj, simple fellow. Reality. If you want to follow a practice, you have to follow someone who is realized. Methods are full of frustrations and give no real satisfaction. Reality has no method. Illusion has many methods, many problems, and many concepts. To overcome illusion or concepts, one should ask, from where does all this thinking arise? Thinking is always of other things. To know the thoughtless reality, no thinking is required. It is where there is no thought. Whatever thing you think of doesn't exist. Everything is eternal reality, and apart from Him, there is nothing in the world. Whatever is thought of makes Him something other than what He is. When thinking ends, what happens? You return to zero. I think some people have joined here. Gaurav has joined. I think Gaurav is the same Gaurav from our online satsang group. He is saying, Ranjit Maharaj and Nisargadatta Maharaj were disciples of the same Guru. They were Guru brothers. Oh, I see. That's why there is so much resemblance, isn't it? That solves the mystery. So that's why I found it very fascinating. He is not so well known, at least. I heard his name. There are few Ramakant Maharaj and few more disciples, but they are disciples of Nisargadatta Maharaj. He is his seeker brother, and that's what makes him almost as original as Nisargadatta Maharaj. So Gaurav, thank you for joining the stream and giving me this information, because I was puzzled. How come this fellow talks so much like this Ranjit Maharaj? So this is my first encounter with Ranjit Maharaj. Let us go forward, and before we proceed to the next paragraph, he is calling the reality as him. He has personified the reality, and whenever he says him with a capital H, it means the existence, the Satchidanand. So, the first thing he mentions, which can be taken as a very nice quote, reality has no method. I exist and I cannot know this with any method. And he goes on to say that illusion has many methods, many problems, and many concepts. So, what he is saying, implying, is that illusion will lead to only illusions. Your methods, your thinking, your philosophy, they will lead to only more thinking, more philosophy, and more methods. They will lead to many, many concepts. That's all they lead to. Just like he says, thinking is always of other things. If you are trying to know the existence and its mysteries, then thinking is of no use. And one should ask, yes, from where does all this thinking arise? Isn't it? Thinking is just another illusion, just like any other illusion. It arises in the illusion, it dissolves in the illusion. When you encounter yourself directly, then there is no thinking. It is not really needed. And you encounter the zero. So he's saying, as long as body is there, the realized being acts. He calls his mother, and his wife, but still he knows. If somebody asks him, what is your name? He gives his name, but he knows, I am not this. That clear-cut understanding is required. Complete understanding is called that. Be in that. Be like a lotus leaf. You are produced in water. You live in water, but you are not touched by water. Stay like that, nothing else. Once you know I am not this, then you become doubtless. My master told me, after understanding, if you want to stay, then stay. Stay in jail. But remember, I am not a victim. One cannot afford to leave the illusion so fast. So live there. But understand that I am not the victim. Ego is such. In very many different shapes and different ways, he remains. So one should always be aware, and then once you are complete, there is nothing to worry about. What you see is illusion. If you understand that myself is illusion, then where does everything remain? People don't understand that illusion is nothing. How can it block you? How can nothing block you? So this can answer a very tricky question that people have. Many times I hear this. If I am that means the zero, the absolute, or the reality, the being, then what is this? This body, this life, my relatives, my property, my job, and everything else. What should I do with this? So Ranjit Maharaj is quoting his own guru. He says, after understanding, if you want to stay, then stay here, stay in jail. But always remember that I am not the one who is in the jail. Because there are remains of ignorance, then people do not want to immediately leave the illusion. And it is actually not possible to do that. That is my understanding. So the only freedom from the illusion is recognition that this is the illusion. There is no other way. If you want to leave the illusion, you will land up in another illusion. This is almost guaranteed. So there is a progress that happens once the knowing arises, and that can only leave, that is the only way to free yourself from the illusion permanently. How can the illusion block me? That means I am already free. You need to only give up this false notion, this misunderstanding that I am the one who is bound. No, the illusion is bound by itself. That is what he is trying to say here. So awakening is nothing but a complete, thorough understanding, a clear-cut understanding of a thing is awakening. Reality is not to be achieved, it is already here. After this thorough understanding, nothing is required. So that relates to his previous comment on practices and methods. The awakening cannot be achieved by any methods. It is just an understanding. You cannot achieve the knowledge of reality because it is already there. It need not be, it is not possible to get that knowledge from something else. I'm sorry for a little bit of interruption here. I was just checking whether the stream is working or not. The bandwidth is a little bit low here. That's why I can show you only the screen. I cannot show you anything else. So even if it breaks little here or here and there, I think should not be problematic because the recording will be available, and I'm not overloading the stream with anything else. So I think everything is working, and if it fails, please let me know in the chat. So reality is not to be achieved. It is not an achievement. It cannot be gotten by effort. It's not possible. How can you get that which is already here, which you already are? You are part of the reality or manifestation of that which is real, the zero. So it is not possible to achieve it. Only thing is that only thing that you can do is you can understand this, and once the understanding is there, And there is no need to seek, there is no need to achieve anything, there is no need to run here and there. Although many seekers are not satisfied. I was talking about this thing last Sunday, online satsang. I called it PAS, or post awakening syndrome. That people are not really satisfied by this, that it is all absolute, zero, and there is nothing, there is emptiness, and I am that emptiness, and everything that arises in the emptiness is totally purposeless, useless, meaningless, illusion. People cannot take it. This is very simple, and therefore the mind rejects it. The mind is looking for something very, very complex, which can be gotten through effort, so that it can install its flag, just like we conquer a country and stick our flag there. So that is the way of the ego, and it fails. It's not possible to do that. So then the real knowledge is very simple. The understanding is very simple. It does not take anything more than one sentence. So he says, in human nature, fear is always there. Everyone has fear because they believe I am the body. Mind creates this fear and is nothing but your own concept. Fear arises in the mind due to the unsteadiness of the world. Every minute is changing. If you go beyond darkness and knowledge, then there is no fear at all. For example, a screen has no fear of any picture because it is steady. So that which is not steady always has fear. Your mind changes every moment and cannot remain steady by itself. If your mind knows its own source or its own beginning, then only can it be happy. As long as there is a body, there is fear. If you want to be fearless, be what is fearless, because that has no end. The final reality has no end and no beginning. It is limitless. So, it is so subtle that all thoughts and concepts stop. Duality contains fear. The one reality has no fear. Forget everything and immediately you are the self. In this very moment, there is nothing to reject, nothing to gain, because everything is nothing. You are self without self. Take out the thorn of the ego, remove the name and the shape, and nothing remains. You see by your own understanding that everything is illusion. Experience it. You don't want to see because the mind doesn't allow you to see. The mind is the only hurdle which keeps you away from yourself. The mind says everything is true. Tell the mind it is not true. Understand the mind, and then it doesn't remain. So here he has given the key to understanding. What is understanding? How to encounter the reality, how to encounter the self. Reject all that which is not self. There is the body and there is the mind. The mind has this notion that I am the body. The mind keeps telling itself that I am the body and I am going to vanish someday. It sees the pictures that arise in the mind as reality and is afraid of being destroyed. And that fear has a little bit of truth in that, because it is going to be destroyed. The body does not remain, the mind does not remain, the person does not remain. It is a momentary arising in the self. So That is the fear, that is the biggest fear the mind has, and it clings to its momentary existence. So the understanding comes when you reject this arising, when you reject this experience that is happening in the space of consciousness. This consciousness is like a screen, and everything else, the body, the world, the mind, are like pictures that come and go. Screen is not afraid. It has no fear. It has no other emotions also, because it knows that it is eternal. There is no ending, there is no beginning, and the screen is limitless. So if you be the screen, if this understanding dawns that I am not these thoughts that arise, the thoughts of fear, the thoughts of being destroyed, then it is possible for the mind to become a little bit peaceful. It probably will throw up the usual behavior every now and then, but you will need to remind yourself again that this is all mind. That's what he's saying. Tell the mind it is not true whenever it returns to its original tendencies of creating the reality out of illusion. Understand the mind, and then it doesn't remain. So once you see the mind as also an illusion, then that is the end of the mind. You cannot wipe out the mind like like you destroy an object or something, like death of the mind. The end of the mind is the understanding that there is no mind. You can see the space, you can observe the space, you can feel the space, but reality is beyond space. Space is zero, where there is no silence, no voice, no peace, no state. All these are conditional things. Reality is beyond everything and is completely empty. Nothing can disturb him. An aspirant may then ask, so what should I do? Do nothing. Words only go up to the space. Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, there from where the words come, that is myself. That is myself. In the Bible, Christ also said the same thing. Know thyself and you know the world. Go up to where thinking ends. Go up to that. And there is the self. So I always call it the self without self. Self-realization is self without self. As long as realizing remains, self remains. The eyes have got the habit to see that which is not. The master takes you up to that, up to the reality and says, be that. This is the position. Everyone is he, and that is real witnessing. But when you take the I to be the witness, then everything which is not is seen as real. Neither I nor the world ever existed. Witness is beyond everything. So we have a new word here, witnessing, and the witness. Sometimes I call it the experiencer also. And the experiencing. So he is saying that all there is the witnessing. The witness is beyond everything. As soon as the I arises, as soon as the world arises, then everything which is not seems to be real. This is the fall. This is the diving into ignorance. So all you need to do is be that witnessing, and you will rise above the surface. The only way to know the reality, the existence, is to know yourself, because it is that which is witnessing through you. That's all there is. If you try to look through the eyes, if you try to hear through the ears, and if you try to engage the mind, then you will be lost in the illusion. Know that which is witnessing this illusion. That is the only thing that exists. That is the only thing that is real. He's saying reality is that which plays in everyone. And when reality enters the 10 senses, he becomes individual self. When you enter the 10 senses, you lose your peace. So the one is appearing as many, and the one is experiencing its own play, its own vibrations, the nad, as forms, shapes, sounds, and qualities, different qualities that make up this interesting show, and is acting through the bodies and all. So that's what he calls 10 senses, the 5 senses that are in the direction of from the world to the body, and the five senses that are in the direction of the body to the world. The senses that inform us of this show, and the senses that act in the show. So the one becomes the individual self. And when you are engaged in this play, then you lose your peace. Then all kinds of trouble arises. One who dives to the depth of the ocean finds the pearl. Go to the depth of yourself and you will find him. It is your love for the illusion that keeps you away from your own self. When you see the illusion as an illusion, you will stop being fooled by it. This is the true understanding. You are already the reality. Why waste time running after the unreal? What reality is, he makes you. All the scriptures point to the one reality, and when you discover it, then the scriptures become empty and non-existent. What do you get when you desire? You get nothing, because you forget yourself. What is the use of it if you lose yourself? Try to preserve your association with yourself, which will take you to final reality. Everything is just like bubbles in the ocean. There are millions of bubbles, and your individual self is just one of them. You must break your bubbles so that you return to your true nature, reality. That's all. True understanding breaks the bubble. If you go to the source of a river, will you find a river? At the source, there is only ice and snow. When you go to the source of yourself, you also disappear. There is only source. Everything is projected onto him, the reality. The whole world is nothing but his shadow. If you understand this, then what do you need to achieve or accumulate? The shadow is not true, only the host is. Reality is beyond knowledge. Reaching reality requires nothing because it is always here. You simply must get rid of the illusion of doing something which is imprinted on your mind. You don't need to do anything to be who you are. Who reaches reality? The one who doesn't care about God, who doesn't care for the illusion and doesn't care for anybody. Caring for others has nothing to do with you. Why? Because you don't exist. When you don't exist, then why care for others? Others don't exist. When you go away from your home for a long time, you feel happy when you return. In the same way, over many lifetimes, you have forgotten yourself. And when you return to yourself, you feel happiness or not. Experiencing is unnecessary because whatever you experience is not true. Only the one who cannot be experienced is true, short and sweet. If you have a strong wish to meet someone, that person must come. In the same way, if you have a strong wish to know reality, why should he not come? In final reality, there is no you as I, no mind, and no thought. That is your natural state. Wake up to your own self. It is the self which gives light to everything and that appears. And without self, nothing could be seen. You are the source of everything. So, very clear, crystal clear message here. No bells and whistles, no fuss, no mess. Why don't we know that I am this reality? He is saying it is your love for the illusion that keeps you away from your own self. The ignorance that this world is real, my possessions and these people, they are real, and I must have it, otherwise I am incomplete. This love for illusion, it distracts us from our own reality. There is only one reality, and I am that. This is forgotten. And when you see the illusion as the illusion, you return back to your own source, which is the self. That is the true understanding. So why are you wasting time running after the unreal? People are busy accumulating stuff, fully knowing that it's not going to last, fully knowing that it does not bring peace or happiness. It is like a habit, it is like an addiction. When that addiction is broken, when you take what appears to as in a very light manner, as a play, very lightly, if you don't cling to these appearances, the impermanent appearances, then the mind knows peace. Otherwise, it has forgotten its own nature, and that's why it has become miserable. There are seekers who run after gurus and scriptures. And he is saying once you discover your own self, then the scriptures become empty and non-existent. Simply by reading the scriptures, you are not going to know anything. The reality is not in the scriptures. not in the books. So stop running, stop finding the knowledge in books. He's saying, what is the use of the things that you get when you desire the things? Because it is like receiving nothing, because you have forgotten who you are. If you do not know who you are, then whatever you get has no meaning. We are trapped in this bubble of illusions and the I. So once this bubble is broken, then that will set you free. He's saying reaching reality requires nothing because it is always here. You simply must get rid of the illusion of doing something which is imprinted on your mind. You don't need to do anything to be who you are. So this is the essence of the message. What is reality? I am the reality. It is not the separate self that the mind thinks it is, and there is no need to do anything to realize this, because anything that is done by the mind, and I am beyond mind. The self is beyond mind. If he says, who reaches reality? The one who doesn't care about God, who doesn't care about illusion, doesn't care for anybody. So those who are running after gods and goddesses, they are kind of very religious and good people, but they do not know anything more than that. They remain trapped in their rituals and communities and the hatred and violence that it produces. And those who do not care for religion, they find an avenue towards the reality. Those who don't care for the illusion, that means the material life, they give up, or they realize how unimportant it is. They find the path. And for some people, their lives are about other people, relatives, friends, and partners, and children, and others, that causes them to lose the sight of reality. There is no other. They are all me. I am appearing as many. That's all. There is no need to cling to others. So once all these things are realized, you feel true happiness. That is what is called the bliss. You are the eternal bliss. That is how it feels. In final reality, there is no you, no I, no mind, and no thought. That is your natural state. So pretty much sums up the non-dual teaching here in very simple language. I'm going to continue reading this page by Ranjit Maharaj in our next live stream. So this was just a test, actually. I wanted to check whether this live streaming will work or not. And if it works, then probably we are going to have more such sessions. The only purpose of reading live on internet is because it is highly boring to read alone. We open the page, we skim through the page and skip many things, and I know all these things already, and we do not really enter into the depths of the teaching by reading aloud, just like we are doing it now, and by trying to comment on what is actually written there. The mind is engaged, the mind pays attention to the teachings, and that is more effective, and it also benefits others who are too busy but to read, but they can listen to it while doing their work. So that is the point. And we have done some reading on during our online sessions. And this is something similar. So we are going to continue with knowledge and ignorance in the next session. Thank you very much for listening.